Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is another edition of New York by Night. Tonight we find ourselves in front of the boiler room at the moment as Mr. Peck is waiting a very honored guest. A guest he has never seen in the boiler room before, and he is very happy to receive. Therefore, tonight he has closed off the boiler room for kin. Kindred are still welcome, but he never made that official. So technically he's waiting for his one true guest, which is going to be the prince, Mr. Silas, as you know him well and better. He stands in front of the boiler room in his pristine white clothing as he works in the boiler room. And he waits, folding his hands, but using auspex as ever. Because, well, you never can be too sure.
Well, that's not so long. Mr. Silas is always on time. Depending on whose time you're keeping count at. Silas is always on time as far as his watch is concerned. A nice smart town car will go past the boiler room and then once again loop back and then actually stop at the boiler room this time. And Mr. Silas will get out the car and bid his driver to keep on going and to pick him up shortly. Mr. Peck.
Good evening, my prince. Thank you for honoring me with your presence. If you would be so kind to follow me inside so we can talk more private instead of here out in the cold weather.
Well, lead the way.
Mr. Peck steps further inside, leading the way for Mr. Silas. As Mr. Silas enters the boiler room, he can see a nicely decorated area. It is decorated, placed there especially to invite large group of guests, mainly kin. And Mr. Silas can see that this restaurant was supposed to open, but now isn't. There also is no personnel yet. Still, Mr. Peck will pay them nonetheless, because that's the kind of guy he is. Mr. Peck will lead Mr. Silas upstairs towards an area which is not used very often. Mr. Silas can notice that there is a security area, there is a waiting room area, and there is a larger area where guests can be seen. It looks like it's a fully equipped Elysium, only it never was an Elysium. Mr. Peck smiles, not saying anything. As they walk past the metal detector, Mr. Silas knows it will go off with Mr. Peck, as he will always carry a knife. And before the prince steps to it, he will turn off the metal detector to give the prince the honor of being equipped with whatever the hell he likes without things going off. And Mr. Peck will continue trusting the prince, stepping behind him, using a key card to unlock the next door out of the security room into the waiting room. Waiting room is decorated far more nicely than most Elysiums the prince has ever been to, even those of the Ventru. This is all matched. There isn't a single thing that does not belong in that room. They won't wait very long in this room. It's not a very large room either. Maybe 6-7 people can sit here at once. And they enter on towards a larger area. Larger area has 4 doors, which you can see. A bar, which would be able to serve guests. There is a stage area with a throne upon it, or at least a luxurious chair. And various areas where people could stand and sit. Even a table which could be used to provide refreshments. And then they will walk through this area to a smaller area. This is definitely a private meeting area. As Mr. Silas can see, there are no cameras here. And Mr. Peck will sit down. My prince, if you please.
Well, it's good to see that my investment was well placed. You've put together quite an interesting establishment here.
It took some time, but I take pride in what I do.
Excellent. Not enough people take pride in how they go about doing things. It's all about getting things done rather than being proud of it with too many people.
Well, pride is a vice. However, some vices are to be embraced in my book. Same goes for perseverance, or some would say stubbornness. However, please feel welcome.
Tenacity, I say, is a bit of a virtue.
It is. It is. My prince,
I'm sorry, you've kind of cut out there and I can't hear anything you're saying.
can I offer you a refreshment? Any kind you wish.
By all means. I'll have whatever you're having.
Mr. Peck is thinking for a moment if he dares to give one of his.
I'm sorry, it looks like we're having some internet issues, I'm afraid. Okay, I think you're coming back in loud and clear. Can you try saying something, Jesse? Hello?
Yeah.
Sorry, the connection's kind of cutting out, and so it's like you're in mid-conversation, then suddenly it stops.
Yes, you seem to come in slower. At least the images come in slower. I will try to continue talking.
Okay, go on.
Mr. Peck doesn't dare to give one of his new testing vintages and will go with one of the older ones he has, the ones he bought. And as he comes back with 2 glasses of blood. He makes the prince choose which glass he wants, so there's no difference.
Left.
He will get the left glass. Prince gets what he wants. And Mr. Peck will take the right glass. Mr. Silas, I've invited you for a few other reasons. One of the other reasons is, as a keeper of Elysium now, I am also a slightly bit in charge of your security, which I, as you can see, take very seriously.
Good. You got most of the basics sorted out.
Yes, but there are many things I need to do. First of all, I know in wartime, luxury isn't something we need. It would be nice, but it isn't something we need. So I'm sure you've already decided that it's either going to be above ground and in the air, or below ground within your personal protection and domain. These areas. Sorry.
I tend to find both works quite well in the scheme of things.
They do, but both areas need to be protected, especially against unwanted guests such as demons, werewolves, and maybe even the changing breed.
Oh, yes, I'm familiar with the ones you're speaking of. They're very tricky to keep track of.
They are, but we have our Tremere who can provide us with, I hope, reasonable wardings against those things, but they will want something in return, for they serve the Camarilla, but they serve the pyramid also.
I think we'll have to have a couple of discussions with them for how the relationship's going to work out. But as far as setting up an Elysium goes, it kind of fits in within the standard list of responsibilities.
I hope so, because I'm going to ask them to provide 3 areas, 2 of you choosing, and this area, if you please, to be protected with wards against demons, ghouls, and changelings, and werewolves, as much as we can.
I see.
This to make sure that we can have a reasonable, nice, secure location. As well,
Oh,
I have to think about setting up one of those door protections with bells attached to them against obfuscated people, because I can't be everywhere, anywhere, all the time.
well, there's lots of tricks with that. Bells, that's a good start.
Yes, also I was thinking pressure plates on locations you can't really avoid them, like on stairs. If
That's
you
also a good one.
if you take a curving set of stairs, then if you make 90% of those steps on pressure plates, then you can't avoid them.
Excellent. Well, you've clearly been thinking the details through.
I'm thinking a few things through. Also, with your permission, some will need serious strappings, so to speak.
Yes, I always find, especially in previous experiences, it's also good to have some kind of emergency sided escape route pre-planned,
Oh,
just in case.
yes, even this one has one. Although, when it will be in use, you will be one of the only people knowing where it is next to me.
Excellent. I might also recommend the use of fire safety blankets. I find they're rather suitable to the decor, easy to keep around the side, and have a variety of uses.
I'll get them started right away. Sounds interesting enough.
It's become part of my standard outing gear, though it doesn't look like I'm going to be going on any of my outings for quite some time since people decided to promote me.
Yes, yes, I wonder how you feel about that. Because, in my opinion, you have always been, I'm sorry for the words if they offend you, a man of the people. A man who stands among the lower clans, the higher clans, and does not really care about neonates and Scylla's elders. They're all the same, they all have their uses. Now, your prince, which expects quite a big deal, and most of the deals expects you to be taking care of things as comes to your own safety and stuff, even more than usual.
So it's quite a big weight to suddenly have put on me. It also has lots of other requirements.
Yes, well, I don't think I would like to be in your gilded cage.
Yeah, it was difficult enough to get you to hold on to the Primogen seat.
Yes, well,
Not found a suitable person for that yet?
to hold the Primogen seat has been taken away from me by you and Dr. Softly and the other ones, and I am the only Toreador now, so I guess we don't really need a Primogen seat for the Toreador. I'm happy as it is, I think.
Fair enough. Well, I created this other side title a little while ago. It stuck when I used to put it to use when I used to go about clan business. I was thinking of reinstitutionalizing it in New York for those clans which we want to hear what they say, but they don't. But there's only like one or two of them around.
You want to install a voice?
A voice or representative
Hmm.
doesn't have any of the particular connotations of the primogen or requirements or any of that, but it does simply allow a person to come in and attend the meetings and be able to give voice.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I would find it quite an honor. But then again, I'm not sure if I fit in within the representative of being the Tory or just me. I'm almost independent when it comes to that.
No, that's perfectly fair. But it still would be handy to have certain people with a smidgen of sense attached to them to attend the occasional meetings.
I try to be at every meeting when it comes to the court. But I have been troubled of late. Been very busy setting up the wellness center, which will be finishing this week or the coming 2 weeks, I believe.
Good, that's gone quite nicely on schedule for you. No issues?
None. Well, yes. One issue which I'm trying to remedy at this moment. Of course, my financial backer was Jonathan DuPont, which puts
I remember. I was the other backer.
you were the backer of the restaurant. I'm talking about the wellness center purely. He was my financial backer. The other one providing interest in there was Lady Erbeth of Glenventru.
I see.
The lady has been very busy, and well, you know what happened to the pond.
Of
So
course.
my trouble now is I need to either pick up the the retainer or the man behind his resources within New York in order to continue that money flowing my way.
Do you
Or
have
in the
any
wellness center.
contact with that individual? Well, DuPont didn't exactly seem like the type of person that handled all the
No,
bits
no,
and pieces himself.
I have some clues. What I'm trying to do is because I have the account number, I can retrace or backtrace from the account to the name of the person on the account. Then I need to find that person and ask that person or check if that person is the person who says it is the person, and maybe get into the either it's the right contact or get through him through the ghoul. That way I can backtrack the resources.
Yes, we can start the trail.
Either I'm going to pick up that retainer or at least try to get hold of the money.
Yes, sounds good to me.
I'm not sure if it's going to work. You can say a lot for DuPont, but he was a very shrewd guy.
Of course, of course. Well, at least DuPont isn't going to be a problem that we're going to have to worry about.
No, I was there when he was dispatched.
I know, and somehow I don't think he left too many potholes for us to fall in behind. I don't think he quite prepared for his demise, but then again, he always was one for surprises.
Maybe I think his Ventru kind of arrogance got the best of him.
Perhaps.
Thinking he could take down the world. On the other hand, he did feel liberated, as he told us during the questioning. I'm not sure what he meant by that. Pressure from elders is not something I feel on a daily basis because I am who I am.
And to be perfectly honest, I was never one for pressure from the higher ups unless they actually had a reason to be the higher ups. In my clan, incompetent elders don't get into positions where they tell you what to do.
I've heard about that. Something I find partly disturbing because it survived for that long. On the other hand, I find it partially very familiar. Very I don't know. It's
Well,
a
when elders survive for the extended periods just to be able to get to that state, there's usually something about it, but a survivalist is not necessarily a leader of fellows.
I'm not sure. I have to ask. Does your clan have actual leaders? I always sort of assumed that they had a council or something because they organize so well together on such a
We
large
have
scale.
a selection of personalities that we work rather well with. Each we have somewhat different to the other clans. Some clans have board meetings. Other
Hmm.
clans have tribal councils. We have
Wow.
family discussions.
Well,
Maybe one of these days I'll drag Uncle Stinky out of hiding. You can have a chat with
I have a very sensitive nose, Mr.
him.
Silas.
Don't worry. It won't be after you've met with
I'd like to keep it so I can
him.
taste what I like.
And, well, I mean, it's actually unusual for us to be having these kinds of close discussions simply because of, well, in many cities, us Nosferatu don't exactly get invited to the council meetings.
Yeah,
Hell,
well,
some cities even don't allow us in their Elysiums.
which is so weird. I understand, but it's weird in another way. I mean, many cities boast that they have lots of influence and contacts everywhere and anywhere. But everyone knows perfectly well that the Nosferatu have the ears of most of those contacts anyway.
Well, it's a bit of a state of affairs that those apparent superior higher-ups in some places thought they didn't need us. Turns out that while they didn't need us, we didn't really need them, and we went about and sorted everything out that we needed to.
Yes, I heard about the situation with that in Berlin, where the prince was arrogant enough to say that he didn't need the Nosferatu there. Henceforth, World War, the Second World War started in Berlin, and he wasn't prepared enough. Silly man.
Yeah, he brought that one on his head.
Well,
But
him.
enough about that. I can go on about little interclan relationships for quite some time. It's a nice little area of study. If you can get
Mm,
hold of some of the minutes, it makes for quite an entertaining read.
yes. Well,
It's especially better if you actually have one of your higher ups to go through it with you and you both can laugh at it. That's when you know you found the right guy.
I have to remember that. One
Trust
other
me.
thing I have to remember.
Trust me. First step, always find one that has a sense of humor. If they don't, run.
Those things come to. Thank you for your wisdom. Anytime. I was wondering, do you have misfits in your family? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that you're considered misfits from our point of view, but do you have them within your own family? If everyone accepted no matter what?
Every family has the odd misfit, my sire included.
Hmm. Wow.
It's more the fact that you're judged in a different way.
Yeah, you're seen with different eyes. At this moment, I find myself being looked at with different eyes. People seem to detach from me in ways I hadn't discovered before. Not that they're not being nice, but it seems like their world and my world are miles apart.
I see. Well, that's fairly common amongst our kin, especially as we start to grow older, and quite often some of us are often stuck in different times as the world goes and leaves them behind.
I
Leads
find that
to areas of disconnection.
I find that most people set their goals so stupidly short, like they want something next week. And
There's
I
nothing
understand
wrong with
because
planning for
I,
next week,
I
but you
understand
should.
that they would, but their priorities to get what they want are silly. I
Mr. Peck,
mean,
I have plans for next week, I have plans for next month, I have plans for 250 years.
yes, I understand that most humans don't have plans for the next 250 years. But what I mean
Actually, you'll
is,
be surprised. I've met quite a few that get into particular lines of work purely for the sake of sorting out their later generations.
really? How does that
Yes.
work?
There's a few particular lines of work, certain duties of mercenary work, certain levels of development, which, to be perfectly honest, you'll burn out after 5 years. None of them
Oh,
are able to hold out that type of level of work for particularly long. But the thing is, if you've managed it for 5 years, you don't have to worry about it anymore because you've made so much of a place, so many contacts, enough influence, enough connection, and enough money that your family is not going to have to worry about anything for the next 2 or 3 generations.
hmm,
That's why they put themselves a little bit through hell and back.
that
Suffer
makes
in the short
sense.
term, reap the rewards in the long.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's still rather tricky in my way of thinking.
Hmm. Well, if you wanted to start talking about generations, we would have to start dragging down a Ventru down and how they plan their bits and pieces. They have rather detailed discussions than this type of thing. Who gets brought in? Who was the sire of so and so? Oh, he's the child of that person. Is he worth it? Did they groom him? Was it a spur of the moment thing? And thus everything flows, and each one is kept track of. It's not the type of situation I would like to be in when you are judged for someone that you've, well, likely never met.
Yeah, that's well, I guess that's a ventral way.
Hmm. Well, yes, but when you can be damned by the actions of your great great grandsire whose name you can barely pronounce, it leads to some issues.
Yes, yes, I guess so. I've never really looked at it that way. In
Hmm.
the in the Toreador, which I know that area where I was, where my sire comes from, eccentricity stood for a lot more than just names. It was more of what you could do at that particular moment and with what skill.
Where I come from, eccentric was just another word that we used to use for crazy people that have money.
Well, my sire was crazy. I'd like to say that, but she didn't have a lot of money. Well, she liked things, but not the finer things, as I would say.
Fair enough. Well, each to their own. Tastes are a difficult thing to account for.
Yes, I guess. You can't judge somebody thinking he has something, he's wearing something that doesn't look anything like the picture in his mind.
And how are you thinking about all these newcomers that we've had sent to our city?
I have yet to check upon one. I've checked on two now. They both check out. One is very tricky to get hold of. I'm trying to get a hold of the background of Miss Sheridan, the Ventry. I've had a talk
Hmm.
with her. The problem is the place where she comes from is being taken over by the Sabbat, and then the Sabbat was taken over by the Anarchs. But
No.
the previous people who were hanging over there are dead or gone, and her sire is already passed away.
Well, if you're interested in doing a little bit of checking up on, I've got one of the Malkavians. His name is Rick Grayson. You remember he writes horror novels.
Mm, never heard of
Recently,
him.
he put out a decent bestseller a couple of years ago.
Okay, I'm gonna try and see if I get make an intelligence check
Yeah,
to
go for it.
remember such things. Is it intelligent academic, something like that?
Whatever you could justify.
Hmm. Oh wait, yes, I remember.
He's got fame too, so yeah, you would likely, yeah, for
Yeah.
that many successes, yeah, yeah, that guy.
Oh, I didn't know he was one of us.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been for particularly long, but he, the previous Malkavian Primogen appeared to have been a little bit fond of him. I've had a
Okay.
couple of meetings with him recently, and he's been having issues that there's a new Malkavian that's arrived, apparently staying in a hotel somewhere. Hasn't done a presentation with me, and my sheriff isn't exactly in quite ready yet to be going out and doing the errands. So I've been
Hmm.
asking for him to go organize a meeting with this person, and I'll provide some sniper support. But if you, but if you might want to, I feel that he wants to be able to do right. He just needs somebody to show him the ropes. Might be someone for you to talk to.
What does he need exactly?
More an exchange of knowledge and a bit of guidance. He
Hmm.
seems competent. He also seems to be have a little bit of ambition to him,
That's
while at
not
the same
wrong.
time being, while at the same time being the safe, curious type, and also wanting to kind of hide his own domain, which was also quite nice for him to be pretty upfront about.
What's interesting is that we may be able to use his fame as a Camarilla to gain some influence in the higher class, upper class politics, whatnot. You know how much the politicians like to rub shoulders with um, people with fame and fortune.
A semi-famous author. Everyone wants to know a semi-famous author, even if he's not particularly a popular author. Oh, have you read this latest book? Oh, sorry, you might not have heard about him. This writer over there, and suddenly you've made yourself superior to the person you're talking about. What do they call these people nowadays?
Assholes.
Well, assholes, yes, but there's a particular word that they've been using to describe these people that are into these lesser famous
Hmm.
writers.
Well,
But what
vultures.
it doesn't matter, whichever position that he's in, as his work will either flux, it might grow, it might wane, but it's all useful. If he
Hmm.
doesn't get, as long as it's kept within a certain balance, individual gets too famous or too well known, causes issues.
Well, I'm just thinking about bringing in money. See, for instance, if you would do a signing here in the boiler room for the rich and famous, so to speak, to give or read a special essay from his latest work, something like that. It's not really important, but the rabble will go for it nonetheless.
No, you have a good point there.
Then we can auction one of his stories or auction a personal reading, something like that. That
But
way,
like I said, this is definitely the type of person that you would probably enjoy having a discussion with.
I think I'll see what I can do.
He's currently staying at Calypso's, around Calypso's old area.
Where was that?
Oh, up north. Might be easier if I just gave you an address and maybe a phone number.
I think it is because if there's somewhere I stay away from, it's Calypso. She's nice.
Calypso's no longer with us, I'm afraid.
She left the city?
Mm, Apparently, according to the Malkavian, she came down with a sudden case of death.
Very sudden. Who
Yeah.
dispatched her?
I don't really have access to the details. It's all been fairly mysterious.
Ugh, I
She
hate
left
mysterious stuff.
some clues behind. I don't suppose you. Do you know anything? Can you attach any phrase or meaning to the words burning sands?
Yes, but I don't think it will be as special as anyone else. I mean, burning sands. Isn't that what they call the desert down in Ethiopia?
Yes, but I don't think this has anything to do with Ethiopia. Plus, it's been what a pretty damn long time since I was last down in Ethiopia,
Yeah, it
and
wouldn't be a place for us.
I don't think she ever went down there.
No, but other than that, burning sands is just what I think. Big deserts.
Hmm. But yeah, there's something like that. All this whole things. I currently having there's a cipher. I'm currently decoding documents. It's all fairly all over the place at the moment.
Hmm. Well, I'm sure it meant something to someone, which Calypso knew.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of this sooner or later.
Don't we have some of those Malkavian seers around?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the Malkavian seers that are bringing this to me.
Oh, crap. Oh well, back to normal business then.
Hmm.
I've also trying to get some more influence over the cemeteries in Manhattan, but they're very stubborn to get good hold of.
Well, cemeteries tend to be fairly independent of each other. It's not
Yeah.
like I hold my own sizable interests in one or two of them.
Uh,
So
well,
some of the stubbornness might be a cause of some of my own protections put down. So yes, I didn't know that you had said that you're checking up on these things.
yeah, well, I try to check up on a lot of things, mainly just to keep control of what I know and what the city is involved in. And I'm naturally attracted to the silence of cemeteries, the graves, and whatnot.
Hmm, I've known quite a few individuals that would rather spend time in cemeteries than, well, with people.
Well, like I said, I noticed that people look weird at me, and well, less people look weird at me in a very silent cemetery.
I suppose so. Hmm. You mentioned before that you're having trouble connecting with was it would I say today's people or just people in general?
I think at this moment it will be people in general.
Well, I don't quite know where to point you for that one. I mean, it might. Well, we got several psychiatrists that might be able to give you advice for why you're feeling disconnected or what you're doing to make yourself disconnected. But I don't think that's the type of thing you want to go and spend a couple of hours a night doing for a little while.
No, Although I could use a point in the right direction, I'm able to discover what I missed in order to either fill that gap or to obfuscate what it was missing, so to speak.
Think of it as well, I believe there's a Ventru psychiatrist we have in the city. I know
Yeah,
I got a letter
Lady
from
Air,
one of them. Yeah, I know I got a
Lady
letter
Arabeth.
from one of them.
Yes.
Yes. Well, go and have a chat with her. Don't do it a chat of shrink to patient. Do it a chat amongst equals that are just seeking to be able to guide each other in the right direction.
Yeah, maybe she can help. I'll see what I can do.
But
Yeah.
if it gets worse, let me know. I understand that that type of thing can have long-term ramifications for kindred.
Yeah, at this moment I'm feeling like I'm dancing on the edge of reason when it comes to those things.
I'm going to just do quickly a little perception empathy check. I'm basically doing a read of how bad your humanity is about now.
I can put it in the chat for you if you got enough successes.
Crap. I'm afraid it's just the one. But yeah, it's just like looking for things like, do you regularly forget to breathe? Or do you not even attempt to do so when you're in other kindred company?
Nope, I don't.
Are you particularly grey, or do you wear makeup to make yourself appear a little bit more blush with health?
I use makeup
Okay.
because I need that. There you go.
Yeesh. But yeah, I think yeah, put a little bit of work in that. Maybe either aim for a bit of a reconnection, find your place in your scheme of things, or maybe try find something alternative to connect to.
Yes. I thought about it
That's,
before I came here.
well, I hear it's quite common for your clan to throw themselves into their work.
Yes, but my work should normally attach myself to humans, but there is a detachable aspect, I think, which will not allow me not to attach myself, which means that I must search for another connection, not particularly humans, but deeper into my art.
There are quite a few ways to go about that one. Well,
Yes.
first, have that chat with the Venture. See how that one goes. If that one doesn't go so well and you can't find the answers that you're looking for, have another chat with me. We'll see what we can pull out. I know plenty of experienced people from other cities that are currently going through the same type of thing you're going through. Some of them got through it, some of them didn't. And to be
Yes.
perfectly honest, information is power. The better you are prepared for the future, all comes down to what you know.
Someone told me indeed that to change one's direction, so to speak, it's a very dangerous road, which can either lead to total destruction or enlightenment.
Well, let's save that discussion for another time.
Yes, I think that's better. I'll talk to this Ventru.
Yeah. Anything else I can go over with you, Mr. Peck?
Let me think. Oh yes, you have to give me the designs for the plane if you want to keep an Elysium of a small group, so only the Primogen Council inside the plane, flying or not, then I need the schematics in order to make sure that the Tremere can ward the proper places.
Okay.
Also, maybe even install an extra kind of escape, if you know what I mean.
By all means, yes, I can have all that passed along you Well, do you keep any ghouls or helpers?
No, like I said, I'm not really attracting humans and such.
I see. Well, I'll have one of my people send over the details for you.
But I got a little group of people, my personnel, which are not aware, but they're helpful.
I see. Well, I keep a few, and well, some people I've kept around for quite a while.
All right. Well, we'll see what I can do. I'll attach myself to the Tremere and see what they can provide. With the
Excellent.
final spectrum, I'll come back to you.
Good, good. I'm hoping that they can provide all that we're looking for.
I think
And,
they will.
well,
What?
they're a pillar of the Camarilla. I hope they stand up to the name, because, well, we kind of need them about now.
Yes, I'm afraid they're well aware that they are needed. So to make sure that they don't go and demand the crown, so to speak, I'll have to go and do it subtly.
Good, good. This is all setting up Elysiums. They have much to benefit from having nice, secure Elysiums.
Yes, they do. I'll see what I can do. I'm sure they are welcoming any opportunity to shine and show what they can do.
Well, a few of them have showed up now. Personally, I recommend Mr. Thursday as a good one to talk to, but the other ones, actually, I could do with more people to talk to the other ones. I haven't been able to get too much of a read of them just yet.
I have met the other ones, all three of them.
I've met them all once or twice myself. It's the fact that I haven't met them particularly often. It takes
Ah,
a while to get to know people.
especially now you're Prince. So much more difficult, I think.
People, one of the reasons I dislike the title is people a bit more automatically guarded around you.
Oh, yes, I forgot social
Yeah.
courtesies. Sometimes
Yes.
they slip my mind.
I know, it's like everyone is. Suddenly you're no longer one of the guys. You're the boss.
Yeah.
Puts things into a different perspective, and I'm not sure I'm particularly fond of it, but it's where
I
we are about now.
Well, the problem is, Mr. Silas, that although I would love to be talking to you as an equal, we simply are not. Now, I can pretend to talk to you as an equal, but then again, you are an elder of the Camarilla, while I am not. And now, second of all, you are a prince, and I am not.
Oh,
Henceforth, I can say whatever I want, but it can cost me my head, I've heard.
I'll see if I can pull up a few notes from Calabras's book. He was an expert at this type of thing. Always very good at putting people at ease. Really miss that guy.
What happened to him?
According to my reports, nothing good. One of the
We
reasons
seem,
I got called down to New York in the first place.
we seem to be losing so many good people.
Well, that one was quite some time ago.
Oh,
But
okay.
yes.
I've never met the man.
Oh yes, this was this is before I entered the city. I was literally called down to come in as a replacement for him to represent Nosferatu interests.
Ah, he was of your family.
Yes, this was to be my nice, quiet retirement, and this nice conquered city that we're never going to have problems with for quite a few years.
Right.
No, no, those bastards.
Yes. Well,
Not even been a year yet, and look at all the stuff New York's been going through.
I'm planning to, I'm planning to stay here for a while.
Good, good. Well, I've got other business to attend to while I'm
Yes.
out and about.
I will go and talk to the Tremere. Let me help you out of here.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Peck will retrace the road they went before they entered, and they end up in front of the coat room. And Mr. Peck will nod very politely, bow Mrs. Silas. Etiquettes are all there. And then he says, I assume that the driver is already waiting.
He will be in about 20-30 seconds.
Perfect. Mr. Peck will step in front of the prince as they walk out, opening the door.
Well, thank you very much for showing me the establishment. I really like what you've done with the place. I hope you take some of my suggestions to heart, and let's look forward to another meeting again soon.
Till we meet again, Mr. Silas, my prince.
And with that, shall we call it a scene as Mr. Silas steps into the car that suddenly arrives and once again drives off into the darkness?
Sounds logical.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you on the next episode of New York by Night.
Doom